Welcome to Power Your Profits podcast, your friendly guide in bringing your business revenue to the next level. Listen as host Susie Carder hears inspiring stories of success from her fellow entrepreneurs and transformational leaders. Prepare to make significant change to your strategies as they unravel the secrets of building multi-million-dollar businesses and the most effective tips on finance, marketing, and sales accountability. If you want to make your first step towards explosive business growth, this is the right podcast for you. Without further ado, here is your host, Susie.
My next guest, Susan Epstein, is a founder of Highly Profitable Practices, a coaching and mentoring service to seasoned women professionals who want to scale their coaching business. Susan has over 25 years of experience as a business coach, strategist, helping women create coaching programs that give them the lifestyle, business, and financial independence they want and deserve. Susan currently offers coaching programs that focus on designing, creating, and filling up groups and masterminds. Please welcome my guest, Susan. Susan, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited that you're here. So tell everybody, what's your magic? What makes you different than everybody else? What makes you unique? Because, we all have a little different spin on what we do and how we do it.
So I think a lot of what makes me different, Susie, is that I was a psychotherapist before I ever was a coach. So I had so much trainings, talking to people, listening to people, hours and hours of helping people solve pretty tough problems. And I worked with parents and adults and kids and teens and, worked for agencies and had a private practice. So I've really had a lot of experience in that field, which people say when they meet me, you're so calm.
Not the average entrepreneur. We're all crazy.
Exactly. And I think I just went through all that heavy stuff early. So now it's like, you know what? I've heard it all. There's nothing that you're going to tell me that's going to surprise me. Nothing I'm going to judge you on. I'm just here to help move you forward.
Awesome. So many people are struggling right now, right, with our economy and the pandemic and the nervousness and the fear storm. So what's your secret sauce to staying in action and keeping your business grow while the world is being in chaos?
Finding simple things to be grateful for and to occupy your time. One of the things, it's kind of funny, but one of the things that I started doing sort of very religiously was a new skincare system. I always would wash my face, obviously take my makeup off, but I had whatever I found in the grocery store, nothing fancy. And my daughter started using something and she's like, oh Mom, you gotta try this. And so I did it and I was like, this is interesting because not only am I enjoying the after effects of it, but I'm enjoying taking some time for me before I present my face to the day. And then also taking time before I go to bed to do that same thing again. And so that morning and that evening has has this really nice sort of Susan time, my time. Yeah. And, always, I take a walk every day. I mean, today I was out, it was 27 degrees here in Connecticut and put our extra clothes on and the dog, and we went for 2 miles. And, unless it's pouring rain, I'm doing it.
Right.
I won't do it in the pouring rain. It's not worth it to me. And also planning around meals so that I don't have to stress about that. So if those things are handled, my personal care, my exercise, and my meal planning, then everything else is a piece of cake.
Right.
As long as I have what I need to shore myself up, I can show up.
Right. Well, I love it because that's kind of the new motto, self-care is the new healthcare.
Yeah.
And especially for women, right? Because we're usually taking care of everybody else and we're the last on the totem pole. And I love the shift that
Yeah.
we're all doing. Like it's a movement. We're creating another movement, Susan.
Oh.
So let's talk about highly profitable practices. So share with us, how do we create a highly profitable practice? What's your, give us 3 things that we could be doing
Yeah.
right now in our practices to really have a shift in this conversation.
So every time you go to do something in your business, ask yourself this question. Is this the best use of your time, your talent, and your abilities? Is making a design on Canva the best use of your time?
No, no, no.
No.
And we've all done it, right?
Right. Is writing a book this year the best use of your time, your talent, and your abilities right this year? Or does your best use of your time and talent and abilities need to go to something else this year, right? So it's being able to not feel all those shoulds, because we're always slammed with them. Oh, I should do this and I should do that and I should do this and I should do a speaking engagement and I should write a book and I should start a blog and I should do a LinkedIn thing and I should get on a podcast. No, I should have a podcast, right? I should.
Yes.
And we can't do it all.
Right.
Yeah, it's impossible. So, that's number one is checking in. Is this really something that I really need to be doing? So that's number one. Number two is, as you're doing your thing that you've committed to, your lane that you're going in, and a distraction comes your way, and it's a really good idea. Oh, wow. This is such a good idea. It's an opportunity. Kill it.
Right.
Kill your best ideas.
Right. We call them the sparkle syndrome. The sparkle syndrome. Like there's always another one.
They're not going to serve you. Right.
Right. I love it.
And then I think thirdly is always be kind of stacking the things that you do. I use a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And on the bottom, I put the things that I don't like to do. In the middle, I put the things that it's kind of like meh, like whatever. It's kind of like I like it enough, but I don't hate it. I don't dread it.
Right.
And then the top, what I absolutely love to do, and I like to do this about once a month, and that helps me take those bottom things and push them up the triangle by outsourcing them to people who like to do those things.
Right.
So I get to do the top of the triangle, the teeny stuff.
Yep.
And that's coaching and speaking and teaching and writing and meeting with my team, but not being so much in the weeds of my business, being on it.
I love it. I'm a note taker, so I'm taking notes while we do this because I love
Cool.
it helps me learn, right? So if I hear it, if I write it and then immediately implement it, game changer.
Perfect.
Right. I think so many people just listen and go, oh, I took that class. Well, taking that class and implementing that class or implementing the strategy. And I think people get it twisted. Don't take it because it's simple. The simplicity is what makes it genius, right? Is to go, oh, let me get rid of distractions. Let me get rid of the things I hate to do, right? The things that are a jail sentence to you so that you can have more joy in your life, right?
Absolutely.
Because that's important. I just hired this organizer because I just bought this new house and it's smaller than my old house. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I just need to, scale down. And she's like, Susie, instead of looking at things that you haven't used in a year, just look at it and say, does it bring me joy? If the answer is no, get rid of it.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I got rid of 3 big bags, like big 30-gallon trash bags of clothes, because I realized that I'm just hoarding to hoard to have them, but I haven't worn them. I look at them and I try them on, then I hang them back up. And, it's so funny how we just hang on to things that don't serve us anymore. They served me when they served me.
Of course.
But they're not serving me now for the season that I'm in. It was so freeing to go, oh, it doesn't bring me joy. I don't need it. I don't need stuff. Right. And I think we all go through that stuff thing.
Absolutely.
So talk about profitable practice. What's your strategy? Because I get this question all the time with my students. What should I charge Susie for this? Right. And I think I have the magic fairy dust out of my hiney, right? And I'm like, you should charge $5,000, right?
Right.
So what's your strategy or formula, Susan?
For charging, for pricing programs?
Yeah, well,
or
pricing their services, because I find, and I'm sure you find this, that most people are undercharging because they don't have a formula. They're just truly pulling it out of their hiney. They're going, what does Susan charge? What does Susie charge? What does Bob charge? What does Lisa charge? What does,
right.
whoever charge? And then we make up our pricing that way. So what's your strategy when you're looking at pricing your services?
So for myself, it's been a journey. Obviously,
Yeah.
I think we all go with that. But I really kind of think about what I would pay for something. So that's
Hmm.
always, like if I was going to hire a coach or what I would think was a fair amount. I I never, charge over the amount that I haven't paid myself for coaching.
Hmm.
Not just what I would pay, but what I have paid for in the
Right.
past. And I've paid a lot of money in the past.
Right.
And some of it wasn't, I didn't get so many good things. So I want to make sure that whatever someone's paying, that they can walk away and say that was worth it.
Right. They're getting the value.
So they got it's not about the money. And that's what I tell people. It's about the end result of what it did for them. If you have someone struggling their entire life with weight and they work with you and you help them lose it and keep it under control for the rest of their life, what is that worth compared to what they've already been through on 300 diets and this thing and that other thing and the other thing, right? So it's like, what would it be worth to you? I always ask women this, to be able to eat as much chocolate as you want and never gain a pound. Like, what would that be worth to you? It's like, oh my gosh, you can have my retirement account, like, right? So, not to, because we carry the stress, and it doesn't matter what it is, would it be worth to that business owner to finally be able to have a team that goes to bat for them, that works with them, that isn't infighting? What would it be
Right.
worth to you to double or triple your revenues next year? What would it be worth to you to have, a month vacation and be able to walk away from your business and know that it was in good hands when you left? That's the value,
Right.
right? So I try to get my clients to also think it's not about the money. It is and it isn't, but it's mostly not about the money, because if somebody really wants something, they'll find the money to do it.
Right.
So does that answer your question?
Yeah, so we speak to that a lot, right? There's value in comparing, right? Because that's
Right,
competitive analysis. That's
right,
one level. The second, which is what you're talking about, is what's the result you're helping people create. And that's what we always tell our students is it's not about time, it's not about
right,
the it's of the program, it's the end result. And that could take 1 hour, it could take 10 hours. It's all relative, right? In what we're producing and what we're doing. So that's, delicious when I look at that.
yeah.
So what would you say, and the key to leveraging the coaching business, which was the simplicity, and then how do you keep moving forward in the ups and the downs?
Great question. And it had to happen because of of COVID, right? The pandemic. And it's a great question for today, right? So 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, I was planning to do an event, May 2020. And guess what? I didn't do the event,
Right. I
right?
don't think any of us did.
Right. And I haven't done one since. And I had to pivot. I didn't have to kill my entire business. I just had to figure out, how do I do what I do online? Because how
Right.
lucky are we to have technology that we have? And I was talking to a coach the other day. I said, what if this had happened 15 years ago? COVID.
Right.
Can you imagine? Most people had face-to-face businesses. It was a different world. The whole the stocks wouldn't have gone up with all the .coms and everything that happened, because we all got on a Zoom. Wouldn't be worth so much money now, right?
Right.
It didn't exist. So we are very, very fortunate in our world that we have multiple ways that we can work with people. So one of the things that I actually stopped doing even before the pandemic was going to things that didn't serve me.
Yeah.
I stopped going to the chamber meeting and that network, and especially where I live, it's a very small community. So you'd go to this meeting, and then the next day you'd go to the other meeting, and the same people would be there. And 2 weeks later, you go to this other meeting, and it would be the same people plus two that you didn't know maybe, but it was never wasn't like a big city feeling. So I'm like, well, why
Right.
do I belong to like 5 networking groups when it's the same people all the time? Pick the
Right.
one that I have the most fun at and cancel the rest. So, and then I stopped getting together for like in-person coffees with people I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I still had in-person coffees with people I knew because I wanted to be with them.
Right.
The people that would say like drive an hour and meet me in a coffee shop and we'll see if we like each other. Like, no, we can do that on Zoom. And I started doing that on Zoom and on the phone way before the pandemic. So I was able to get my time back, that I was spending in the car.
Right.
Um, Also, outsourcing to my team. I hired a team. I've had a team of about 7 or 8 people for the past 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 or 3 admins that have various roles. I have 3 or 4 coaches, depending on how busy we are. And I have somebody who does my video editing and somebody that does my transcribing. And I have various people that we hire for different projects. And my team, I have an online business manager who just runs the whole thing for me.
Right.
And, slaps my hand when I jump in there and says, get out of here. You're messing it up.
It's not your job.
No, don't
I
do
love
that.
that.
Don't answer that client about their money problem. That's my job. I know you
Well,
can't.
I love that. Like that just speaks to your leadership because a lot of people don't want to let go of control, and you've given them permission to tell you to get out of there.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Which is because people are like, how do you have people take over? You give them permission. And not take over like you don't know what's happening. You know what's happening. But for them to have the confidence to say, Susan, it's not your sandbox.
Not your sandbox. Stay out of my lane.
Right. So how did you create that culture? Because that's a powerful culture that most people don't know how to do.
I think, again, it was my background with, I'm a connector.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I am. I always brought people together. I was the person who always had the thing at their house.
Yep.
I always introduced people from across, you're going to meet this person, you're going to meet this person, dragging people around. And I didn't have this team when I started, like it evolved. I had a couple of people we had to let go.
Right.
There were people that were super needy or asked way too many questions that was just so irritating. It was like, we already told you how, there's an SOP there, just do it. But they were just not confident enough. Asked them to just, we don't need that anymore. And I've got the right flow now. And I tell them they can never leave me.
I do that too.
They're a lot younger than me, so they'll probably outlive me anyway. So, and everybody's really happy to work with us. I mean, we love each other.
Right.
When we were doing the in-person events, and maybe this is part of it too, everybody stayed at my house, the team. I got, extra beds and everything. And I bought extra sheets and towels, and I made the bathroom pretty and gave them each a loofah and gave them new socks when they came in and took them out to dinner and bought a case of wine and, did whatever we were doing. And we sat around watching movies when we weren't, using the calculator or figuring out what tomorrow was going to look like. But it was like my house was like command central, and we got really close over the years.
Yeah.
And we have that still. We're not physically together right now. And my team I got one, I'm in Connecticut. I've got one in Seattle, one in Berlin, one in Ann Arbor, one in Prince Edward Island, Canada, another one in Shenandoah Valley, Virginia. So we are
everywhere.
Yeah.
And where do you find your talent?
Los Angeles. Where did I find
Where do you find your talent?
Over the years, I've been in other people's programs. I've met other people. My person that is my online business manager is the daughter of a really good friend of mine who I met through coaching. And she started working for her mom, and she self-taught herself how to do stuff. And she's just amazing at it. And she knew the person who is in Berlin, and she brought her in. So it's kind of like, I met everybody as they came in. My daughter works for me. My daughter's an actress and a dancer and a singer and a video editor, and she can do anything. She's in Los Angeles. So during all this craziness, when Hollywood was shut down, she's been editing my videos and helping me with my newsletters and posting my LinkedIn's. And, she's awesome. She works for me too. And when we were doing live events, my husband worked for me. He would go to Starbucks, get us all coffee, and drive everybody in the 2 different cars and carry all the stuff in that we didn't want to carry. And,
right.
and
That's a
hold
good man. That's a good
yeah,
man right there.
yes, and hold the space in the room and be the person to answer questions and help with registration if we needed it. And, so it was really a family affair too. Yeah.
Well, I think that speaks to the culture, right? And I
Yeah.
do the same thing. Like my team will stay with me, or we'll get an Airbnb, and we'll all
Yeah.
stay together. And then I'm cooking all the meals, like
Oh
prepping
God,
them,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then cooking them all. So it does feel like that big family where you
Yeah.
can't get in a hotel, right?
No, you can't. No.
You can have community in a hotel, but what we're talking about is a culture that you've created, which then has them feel like they've earned the right to say, Susan, go in your sandbox. This is my
Exactly.
sandbox,
I mean,
right?
we're running between the bedrooms in the morning. Should I wear these earrings or those? I mean, we're getting dressed together. It's kind of one of those. And we're in our bathrobes. And I made 3 lasagnas before they came, and I put salads in jars, and I did all this, also
Right.
all the food. Um,
And
and
prepping for your well-being.
yes, exactly. And it was just, I miss it. I do miss that.
Yeah, I do
But
too.
I planted the seeds, and we are tight. So
Yeah.
I am.
Well, you've done the work and you continue to
Yeah,
do the work, offline, online, which makes a
yeah,
big difference in building a team,
that's
right?
right.
Because there's a lot of people that in my younger days as a leader, I was machine gun Eddie, right? I just, it was like the hammer. And,
Yeah.
that doesn't serve a community. They were all afraid of me. I'm like, I don't want people afraid of me. And then realizing, oh, I can't just be the hammer. I've got to be the love bug too. And so just the blend of holding people accountable without hammering them and then loving them to their greatness is a whole skill set that I lead by example, watch by example, watch what other people are doing to create amazing cultures.
I was the opposite. I was terrified to tell people when they did things wrong because I thought they would quit.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything. I was more like, I would like go to other people and go, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle it. I'll be up all night, like trying to figure out how to fire somebody.
Right.
Could not. And I went and got some leadership training. I did. And that changed me. I was able to communicate without being emotional. And
Yeah.
that was really hard for me not to, because I'm full of it. I am just one big emotion.
Right.
So I had to tam that down a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do know that. Like if you were in my office crying, I was crying, right? So it's such the blend.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, because our journey, we're seasoned as
Yep.
businesswomen. And so being seasoned, we've had a lot of successes and a lot of failures. What's been your biggest failure, your biggest challenge that you've had in them? And then what you learned from it? Because I love learning from
Yeah.
what people did wrong versus just teaching from your mountaintop. What would you say that biggest failure was? And then what was the learning experience from it?
The biggest failure I had was in 2008 when everything crumbled.
Yes.
And I was parent coaching then. I was doing some business coaching, but mostly parent coaching. And I was doing pretty well. And I was building, and I was probably, at that point making about 6 figures. And it was steady and it was great. And then that happened. And then my clients went boom, 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 boom. And I freaked. I literally freaked out, and I looked for a job.
Oh, wow.
I
You
kept
did freak out.
I kept my clients that I had and did them, in the evenings and stuff. But I didn't stick it out and cross my fingers that it would. I just saw that as like, oh, my MG, like I need health insurance, or like something cuckoo. I don't even remember what it was, but I just did it. Now I got in there. It was the worst job in my entire career that I ever had. And I worked in a lot of places. I was a social worker that made home visits, one of my first jobs, where I went into people's homes and had to remove children for abuse and neglect. I
Mm,
loved that job. I did.
right,
I loved that job. I felt like I was really helping and making a difference in counseling parents, but it was
right.
scary and all that. Not that much when you're 22, but in any event, I did what I did. But this job was demeaning. The boss talked down to me. They looked at their watch when I came in. If I was 3 seconds late, if I left a little early, there was all of
Right.
that feeling of control and bosses. It was all paperwork. It was hardly any conversations with people. It was really depressing. I just was really, really unhappy. And I fell into another opportunity while I was there. Someone told me about this health coaching opportunity. And I just started doing it, and I was
Right.
really good at it. And within 6 months, I quit the job because I had replaced the income and I was out. And that was the last time I went to work.
Right. So last time you had a JOB.
Right, exactly. But and I kind of like said to the coach that I had been working with, I said to him, how come you didn't reach out to me? But I didn't reach out to him either. But I said, like, how come you just say, are you okay?
Right.
So I said, no.
Right. Right.
If he had said to me, just hold on, it's
Right.
going to be okay, then I trusted him. I might have said, yeah, and he did. And he came back, going from like probably 300 to $1 million business the year after that. So,
Right.
He's also a lot younger than me too. I think there's stuff at certain ages where you're like, oh no, I'm not where I'm supposed to be at age 50, 60, whatever. And you're trying to save for your retirement, or you're trying to get your kids through school, or whatever the milestone that you have. And that gets interrupted.
Yes.
What are you supposed to do? People are counting on you.
Right.
So that was, in retrospect, I wish I hadn't run.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it led me to people that I wouldn't have met. Doing the health coaching business, I learned it was network marketing. I learned so much about inviting people to conversations.
Yes.
I have no fear around that anymore. And I think I might have still had a little bit of it, because as a psychotherapist, I had to invite anybody. The phone just rang when people made appointments. There was no marketing at all. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's the silver lining. And then there's also, I wish I had,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you want to be remembered for? If there could be one thing that Susan wants to be remembered for, what would it be?
The coach that told the truth.
That's a good coach.
That didn't sell me something that they thought I needed, but met me where I was and worked with me where I am to have my dreams fulfilled.
I love that.
Yeah.
And is there any question you wish I would have asked you?
Oh, tell me who you live with.
Tell you. Look, So I live with my fiance.
Who I live with, and then I'll ask you. Okay.
I live with my fiance. We've been together for 7 years. I just sold my home in California and moved. We have this summer home in Oregon, so just moved here. So this is a whole new season of us being together and being in this relationship. So that's who I live with.
That's lovely.
Beautiful Oregon.
Oh,
We're right on the river, so I have the river right behind me. It's a great way to wake up every day and just see this peacefulness and serenity, and it's such a different level of calm, right? Like, oh, I love nature, which I didn't know, right, until I'm surrounded by nature.
Right.
You can get off work and go for a hike, and it's amazing, and beautiful waterfalls everywhere.
Wow.
It's so beautiful. Gorgeous. And I'm 10 minutes from the beach, and I'm a beach kid, so we were there yesterday, just, like, oh, that's where I feel like I get connected to God, is at the beach.
I love that. That's lovely.
Yeah. So then how do people find you, Susan? So if they want to look at creating a profitable practice, right, and really having that insight of honesty, transparency, and transformation, because I know you enough to know that's who you are, how do people get a hold of you?
They can go to highlyprofitablepractice.com and get my free resource, which ultimately shows them how to leverage.
I love it. So go to highlyprofitablepractice.com, download the resource to really look at how you can leverage. Susan, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for always being a yes. I love that about you, and I appreciate you and everything that you're doing in the world.
Thank you so much, Susie.
You're welcome. Have a blessed day.
You too.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Power Your Profits podcast. Let these building blocks from today's most successful industry leaders equip you with the necessary resources and tools to finally establish the highly profitable business of your dreams. Want to hear more? Listen to more episodes at https://poweryourprofitspodcast.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the show. Now is your time to rise to the top of your game, so be sure to catch our next episode. Until next time.